Just west of the Indian River Bay on Millsboro Pond, the town of Millsboro offers pretty much a bit of everything for everyone. So today, we're offering a look inside this thriving Sussex County town.
Yeah, welcome to Delmarva Life's Small Town Series, Millsboro. We are digging deep to show you what makes this particular Delmarva town so special.
And as you may already know, each community on the peninsula is rich with history and culture and spectacular scenery. Millsboro is no exception. Near a place called Rock Hole at the headwaters of the Indian River, the 1792 state legislature authorized the construction of a mill dam. The south side portion of a village that developed around the mill was called Washington. On the north side, the settlement, actually originally called Rock Hole Mills, was formally renamed Millsboro in 1809. The community's expansion was fueled by a wide variety of cultural and manufacturing activities, and by the 1840s, the entire town was known by its current name. With the coming of the railroad in 1874, a new era of economic prosperity began. The town was first incorporated by the Delaware General Assembly in 1893. Millsboro has for centuries been a central meeting place for the peninsula's Native Americans.
Yeah, you may remember a couple of weeks ago when we were discussing the upcoming 45th annual Nanticoke Indian Powwow. Commemoration Committee Chairperson Bonnie Hall pointed out why it's such an important event.
It's an opportunity for us to gather to count our blessings, to honor those of our elders that may have passed on. But it's also an opportunity for us to reunite with family, with friends, with the community, and to make new friends. We enjoy meeting new people and explaining and sharing with them our rich cultural history.
The 45th annual Nanticoke Indian Powwow is just down the road this weekend at Hudson Fields on Eagle Crest Road.
The history is featured all year long at the Nanticoke Indian Museum. The museum, dedicated to the town's first inhabitants and Native Americans, was declared a National Historic Landmark by the federal government. The Nanticoke tribe, also called Tidewater people, played a big role in the town's trading history. The museum exhibits a collection of artifacts handed down from several generations of elders. While some were donated, the building is made up of 2 exhibit rooms showing ancient tools, weapons, clothing, animal skins, and a wooden canoe used in collecting seafood and for traveling.
Really cool to go in
Really
there.
Cool,
yeah. Millsboro offers plenty of recreational opportunities, including Cupola Park. Located on the tidal Indian River, the park is a lush and lovely place to fish, boat, and kayak. The tree-lined park has a lot of shady areas, perfect for an afternoon playtime with the kids at the playground or watching outdoor concerts.
Perhaps one of the most famous people to call Millsboro home is the man for which the road running through the town is named, John J. Williams. Mr. Williams served 4 terms as a U.S. Senator from 1947 to 1970. He was born on a farm near Frankfort, the 9th of 11 children. In 1922, he moved to Millsboro, where he and his brother Preston established the Millsboro Feed Company, a livestock and poultry feed business. John Williams married Elsie Steele in 1924. They remained married until his death 64 years later. In 1946, he served on the Millsboro Town Council.
Interesting history
How
there.
about that?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we've done a whole lot of talking about the town of Millsboro and why it shines so bright in Sussex County.
So, time now to hear from the people who live, work, play, and pray in this community. And they'll give you an idea of what's to come on the Small Town Series, Millsboro.
We're 20 minutes from the beach. I mean, it's very close. We're more affordable. And now that other businesses are coming in, restaurants are coming in, healthcare is going to be big here, there will be a demand. So this is the place to be in the near future, for sure.
100%, it's the people. It's the people that have lived here for the decades that they've lived here. They're all family-oriented people, church-oriented people. And the townspeople themselves are very, very dedicated to the town and to the different entities that are in the town, like the fire company and the different civic groups.
You know, if you go to a community event and you have some young kids that come up and they're, you know, all the kids, they want to see a fire truck. And I think that's the exciting part, and that's the part that kind of sticks out.
And that's really how we operate here. So it's a family effort. We all put in our 100% to help each other out and to provide the best services for the residents, visitors, and business owners in town.
Millsboro was a town that gave me a chance. And I think that's important for an employee. If you see an employer that is loyal to you, I've always felt that that loyalty should be returned.
Delmarva Life Small Town Series, Millsboro. We'll be right back.
Delmarva Life is brought to you by Tidal Health. Less duplication, more collaboration. The law offices of Tuttle and Racer, Spicer Brothers Construction, Gateway Subaru, A&A Companies, Pam Price and Associates Remax Advantage Realty, and Delmarva Acupuncture and Wellness Center.
You may know what it feels like to fall in love with a town. Now, if you actually experienced Millsboro, it happens over and over, whether it's the family feel, the practically perfect location near at the beach, or the downtown packed with brick and mortar businesses. There's so much to love in this small town.
Yeah, and if you don't believe us, just look at the numbers. This community is growing quickly. Delmarva Life's Katie Zerilli chatted with town manager Jamie Burke to learn more.
Snugly settled slightly to the east in Sussex County sits the small town of Millsboro.
Right in the middle at the crossroads of 113 and Route 24.
A quaint community just before you hit the beach.
And I think that is what draws people to town. They come through, passing on their way to the beach, going from points west and points north to points south and east. And they stop and they drive through our downtown and realize the jewel that is Millsboro.
And that jewel sparkles and shines so brightly, in fact, that everyone wants a part of it. According to town manager Jamie Burke, they're coming in herds to call this place home.
We're seeing approximately a 10% population growth year over year, which leads the county and at times will lead the state. Our building permits, we're issuing more than anybody else in Sussex County, and sometimes more than other towns, close to the trajectory that Middletown has in northern Delaware.
And it's not just a rise in the area's residents. Business is booming too.
We're really excited. Nectar juice bar from Lewis is going to be opening downtown here shortly, and that's going to be just really cool for people that would travel to Lewis. They may take a day instead of go to Lewis, come to Millsboro. We have some new restaurants coming online and some really cool businesses downtown that attract people, residents, visitors, and other businesses.
In response to this great growth, the town is investing in new infrastructure, namely a new police station and a second water treatment facility.
And so that way you don't get into a point where you can't grow anymore or you can't serve the needs of the people that are already here.
And as you can see, Millsboro's second water treatment plant is under construction. It's a work zone back there. Everybody's working hard. I think it already looks great, and I can't wait to see it completed. There's plenty to see and experience now, though, too. They've got a place for the pups, top-notch Little League fields for the young sportsters, a library for book lovers, and Cupola Park for, well, everyone.
It's a great spot. You'll always see activity here. We've got some great equipment for the kids. The pavilions here, we'll see people doing birthday parties at the pavilions. We do a concert in the park series, typically Tuesday nights during the summer on the bandstand behind us.
But wait, there's more on the event calendar. They just hosted the Dam Mill Run, the longest running 5K in Sussex County.
This was the 40th year for it, and we had a huge turnout, and it ended in the park right here. And that's a cool thing, to still have those traditions, something that lasts 40 years. We also do Stars and Stripes, which is our annual, the Chamber's annual event.
Stars and Stripes typically happens in July, but this year it was postponed to September 30th.
But those are the kind of cool things that are, small town feel, incorporating all the people that have moved here.
Because the people are the passion of this place.
We have a framed picture in the office that says small towns are like family, and that's really how we operate here. So it's a family effort. We all put in our 100% to help each other out and to provide the best services for the residents, visitors, and business owners in town.
And Jamie's here to put that 100% in for the long haul.
I would love to retire here. We just had an employee who today is he's retiring, is his last day, and he has been here for 47 years. Now I'm a little long in the tooth to put 47 years in, but I'd like to be here till I retire and leave that legacy behind and just show how it's like camping. You want to leave it better than you found it.
And right now, this community gets better and better every single day.
And with all the interest in Millsboro, Katie asked Jamie if there are homes for sale. He said they've got a good stock of resale and there is a lot of new construction. And you see it every day.
How are you going to be able to resist this? When it comes to the growth of a small town, there's one place you can usually go to make connections. Coming up next, we're finding out how the Millsboro Chamber of Commerce is the nerve center of the town and is settling into its new location.
And then we spend time with a hometown staple in Millsboro, Baker's Hardware, a family-owned business with a lasting legacy. Don't go anywhere. Delmarva Live Small Town Series Millsboro. We'll be right back. Before the break, we told you about the growing town of Millsboro, a spot that's no longer Sussex County's best kept secret. And it's not just because people moving in. Many businesses are relocating to this community as well.
And those businesses will be glad they did, especially because of the Chamber of Commerce's unwavering support. The Chamber does everything possible to champion existing businesses and encourage new ones. Delmarva Live's Katie Zerilli introduces us to the new executive director.
From big city Baltimore to small town Sussex County. When it was time for Ann Angel to move across the bridge, one community caught her eye.
Honestly, I feel like Millsboro is the place to be because we're 20 minutes from the beach. I mean, it's very close. We're more affordable.
Ann's the executive director of the Greater Millsboro Chamber of Commerce, an entity that exists to help area businesses thrive and encourage others to open up shop here.
Every month, we plan a coffee connect. We have a business after hours every month. We have a quarterly lunch and learns. And for businesses that are just opening up, we have ribbon cuttings. And then we do a press release and send the press release out to our media partners and really get the word out in the community and neighboring communities that certain businesses are open.
And that's happening more and more nowadays as this area explodes with growth.
For me, it's exciting to be growing with the area in general, and knowing that the demand is here. I mean, I'm getting people who I've never met who I get membership forms.
As a matter of fact, Ann says 2 major healthcare providers have plans to build campuses in this area in the not-so-distant future.
And that will bring the need for other businesses and housing. There's also talk that there is a medical school that will open up in Sussex County.
What folks might not realize is that the Greater Millsboro Chamber also encompasses the communities of Dagsboro, Gumboro, and Longneck. Right now, the Chamber has about 170 members. She's brought on 28 since she started.
There's a coffee shop with a children's toy store next door to it. They're together, and we're hoping to do a ribbon cutting for them. But it just will give them the press and get out there that they're there.
A way the town itself says we're here is through the Stars and Stripes event. The Chamber puts that on annually. This year it was postponed until September 30th. Chamber is also partnering with the town to host a holiday market in November. And Ann says moving forward, the goal is to create more events to fill the community's calendar.
We want to partner with businesses in the area and have more sort of staple events that we have every year. I'd love to do a trade show. I think businesses would love that, and I was used to doing that in a previous life in Baltimore.
She's also ready to get knee-deep in creating a visitor's guide to make the town that much more accessible.
And the visitor's guide also has articles about the schools, healthcare, the town of Millsboro. It gives some history about the area. So it's more than just ads for businesses. It's all-encompassing, so that will be great.
If it sounds like Anne's passionate about this stuff, it's because she is. Bringing people together is in her blood.
I've always been a networker, and that, I thrive off of that. And so just to make those connections is great. It makes me happy.
And to do so in this friendly, flourishing town, well, that's practically perfect.
The Greater Millsboro Chamber of Commerce just recently moved into a new location on Main Street. It's the former home of the Art League, and Ann says they'll be doing a ribbon cutting coming up sometime in October.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's exciting.
that?
Well, since 1962, they've been steadily serving their community. Coming up next on Delmarva Life, we're spending time over at Baker's Hardware, who know their clientele on a personal level and are always willing to help. Stay where you are. More Small Town Series Millsboro is on the way.
1962, John F. Kennedy was president. The cost of a gallon of gasoline, 28 cents. You could buy a new home for about $10,000. 1962 is also when Vernon and Leon Baker of Millsboro opened a small family hardware store.
Today, Baker's Hardware remains in the same spot on DuPont Boulevard. It's grown a bit to include Baker's Power and Turf and Baker's Rental. But as I found out during a recent visit, the decades-old family-run hardware store continues to deliver that Sussex County down-home service. Bob Ricker, owner of Baker's Hardware, is keeping family in this 61-year-old family business.
Baker's Hardware was originally started by my father-in-law in 1962, he and his brother. In 1985, my wife Teresa and I bought it from her dad.
Over the nearly 40 years since, Baker's Hardware has grown while remaining a hometown hardware store, something Bob says hasn't been easy.
We've always tried to keep it to match Millsboro. Millsboro was always a very family-oriented, a very Christian-oriented town, and we have kept it that way. Even today, and the same thing in Millsboro today is still about the same as it's always been.
Values that are important to not only Bob, but to the people who have made Baker's Hardware their first stop when working on something around the house.
100% it's the people. It's the people that have lived here for the decades that they've lived here. They're all family-oriented people, church-oriented people, and the townspeople themselves are very, very dedicated to the town and to the different entities that are in a town, like the fire company and the different civic groups.
And whether it's fixing a leaky pipe, painting a wall, or doing a complete room overhaul, many of his regulars prefer to do it themselves because they can count on support from the Baker's Hardware staff.
Those folks you see 2 or 3 times a week. They come in and they all have different problems every time, which is the good part about being a small family-owned hardware store. It's that each time that a customer comes in, it's another opportunity to help somebody, and it's very gratifying.
That means no one in the store is a stranger, keeping things on a first-name basis.
And it's neat to know that the customers will get to know the employees really well. We've been blessed to have a lot of long-term employees. Employees have worked for us for 20, 30 years. And the customers have gotten to know them throughout the years. And each one of our folks has one little specialty that they like to do. It may be paint, one guy may be paint, and one of the girls may be barbecue stuff or something like that.
Bob and his family have worked hard to make sure they have just about everything for everyone by expanding the store over the years. The outdoor power equipment division of Baker's Hardware not only sells what homeowners and business owners need, they service it too.
We've always done work in outdoor power equipment. Over the past 20 years, my oldest son, Jacob, has expanded the outdoor power equipment into a very, very large part of the business.
Residential growth in Sussex County keeps the outdoor power equipment division busy, catering to professional landscapers and homeowners alike.
So that part of the business has been huge. That kind of sort of goes hand in hand with our rental side of the business for renting equipment, because we basically had a built-in customer base with all the landscapers that came here, and they also rent the equipment too.
Bob says it's not always easy competing with the big franchise box stores that have popped up throughout Sussex County, but he knows Baker's offers something true and genuine.
We try to specialize in service and in customer service, and we've noticed, not just over the past COVID years, but the last 15 or 20 years, that things have changed. People haven't been quite as price conscious on everything there is, because the smaller businesses really have a tough time competing price-wise with larger companies. But it's the service-based aspect to it that keep bringing people back here for decades and decades and decades, because they know that when they come here, they're going to find people who are knowledgeable. They're going to find people who really care about them to make sure that their project goes well. And that goes a long ways with people.
Baker's Hardware is one of the oldest businesses in Millsboro and has been owned by the same family since the day it opened its doors in 1962. Bob says further growth is not out of the question. And as for what he thinks his father-in-law would think of what he's done with the business,
I think he'd be pretty proud. He was a wonderful, wonderful guy. He's a farmer for his whole entire life, and I think he'd be tickled.
Baker's Hardware was able to expand over the years by buying up land adjacent to the original store, but there's not much more land left. Bob says he's always keeping his eyes open for opportunities to find a piece of land in Millsboro to grow even more.
Ready to grow, just needs somewhere to go.
That's right.
There you go. Up next, we're getting a close-up look at how Millsboro EMS has grown and evolved to meet the town's needs over the years.
A very important part of any community is the emergency services department, you know, police, fire, EMS, and that's where I am right now. I want to talk a little bit about the emergency medical services, and I'm here with Jay Myers. He is the supervisor of EMS here in Millsboro, and we are actually in front of one of your ambulances. And for those who are fortunate enough not to ever have to be in one of these, tell us what we have here, what you work with on a daily basis.
So basically what we're looking at here is the inside of our ambulance is pretty much basic for all of the companies. This unit is specifically set up to take care of minor medical emergencies. We do bandaging, we do cardiac arrest, medical patients. We are able to carry some medications to administer to our patients and so forth. Probably the biggest thing about it is that it's safe transportation for our patients.
Okay, so tell me about when one of your ambulances might be called out. Is it when we call 911?
So basically, in order to get an ambulance, it is necessary for you to call 911. 911 will ask you a slew of questions, such as, are there pets? Can you put your pets up? Get your medications together, where the patient may be located. Once we get that information, we are dispatched up front. You'll see a computer. We work on a CAD system. If you have a hide key, or if you have some certain way to get into your house, if you can't get to the door, that secure information comes to us through the CAD system.
Now, you have been working with EMS or with emergency services in one form or another for a very long time.
Very long time.
I'm sure things have changed over the years.
Very much so.
Yeah.
So some of the biggest changes is basically call volume, the things that we are seeing nowadays as opposed to when I started back in '79. When I started back in '79, we had Cadillac ambulances. We didn't have power lift stretchers. When we first started, my first EMT class was 27 hours long, and I was allowed to ride in the back of the ambulance.
Really?
And now it is in excess of 150. Our skill set has increased immensely since then.
Sure. So tell me about the Millsboro EMS. I mean, how did this all get started?
So prior to back in the 60s, some of the viewers will know, doctors used to come to your house. He would assess you. If he thought you needed an ambulance, he called the local undertaker, because that was the only vehicle that was suitable to transport someone who could not sit up. So basically you went to the hospital in a hearse.
Wow.
So along about 1962, 63, the Veterans Foreign Wars, VFW, decided that we needed a little better system. So they started the VFW ambulance, Station 94. They served the town for 35 years, and somewhere around 1997, they determined that with all the changes and all the things that were taking place, they could no longer keep up with the volume. They turned the ambulances over to the town, and the town immediately turned it over to the fire department under Chief Larry Gunn. So the volunteers ran it for another 2 years. In 1999, we hired our first 2 employees full-time. Amazingly, they are both still here. So we started off with 2 ambulances. We currently have 4 ambulances. And basically, we're looking to get another one in the fall.
A lot of growth in the town of Millsboro.
A lot of growth.
And fortunately, you guys are growing with it, and I know the
We're
town.
attempting to.
I know the town is grateful for
Right.
all you do for Millsboro, the entire EMS crew here. Thank you so much,
You're
Jay.
so very welcome.
Very interesting.
Thank you for
and
coming.
hopefully, you don't have to meet Jay on a call. You can meet him walking downtown.
Right. If you want to see me, just call. We'll have lunch.
All right, sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Stick around, we have a whole lot more from Millsboro, Small Town Series, after the break.
There is nothing like new digs, am I right? The Millsboro Police Department is about to find out that feeling because soon they're going to be moving out of their currently too small space into a brand new, much bigger, newly constructed building.
It's still in the works right now and should be done by Christmas time. Now, this change is one the community can truly get excited about. Delmarva Life's Katie Zerilli gives us a sneak peek.
It's a construction site now, but in just a few months, this space is going to be the brand new home of the Millsboro Police Department.
We're very excited. We're hoping to be in this building by the end of the year.
It's a necessary upgrade, according to Chief Brian Calloway, as they've outgrown their present digs.
Currently, we're in a very small police station. It's an old post office. It was the post office in the 50s here in Millsboro. The Millsboro Police moved into that building back in '97. In '98, when I started, we had a total force of 9 police officers. We currently now are at 21 sworn.
They began brainstorming this project back in 2017, which means they've had about 6 years to think through the major changes they desire in this newly designed space.
This place will be different in many aspects, whether it's the way that people come into our building, the way that we process our prisoners, but also the way that and safety issues that we have with when you come in, and also workspaces for our staff.
It's also, of course, in a new spot. Bye-bye 307 Main Street, hello 120 West Railroad Avenue. Chief Calloway says this site was picked with purpose.
Location is, I think, one of the most important things that you need. You want a police station to be a part of your community, one that is, if you're in an emergency situation, people know where to go and how to get there. So location is very important. Location also means not just where your community knows where you are, but also allocating your resources when they're needed. So we felt that this was a location where officers had multiple ways to respond to any emergency situation.
They're also designing it to be welcoming to anyone and everyone. As a matter of fact, they'll be inviting folks to use a certain space inside.
In this building, what makes us a little different is we do have a room where we can host training, but we also can host community events, whether it's an event for an art league, or if it's also one of our homeowners associations that wants to have a meeting, we can certainly have that here as for open to the public.
The Millsboro Police Department has been accredited since 2008. And Chief Calloway says that made a difference in the design process, too.
Accreditation was a big part of how we designed this police station. Through this design, we had to think about evidence processing of prisoners, and also the way that you bring in and out people, how you interview. And when we were designing this this police station, accreditation was at the forefront of that.
And because they'll soon have a brand new building, that makes room for more staff.
When you're building a new police station, it also builds opportunities for our staff. Millsboro is a small agency, but we are growing. So we're certainly looking for people to come in, be a part of our team, and be a part of the programs that we are very proud of, whether it's our school resource officer or to be a detective.
Chief Calloway joined this staff back in 1998. He's the poster child for potential.
I feel like Millsboro adopted me as their own son. I have had the opportunity to grow in a small town in all aspects, whether it was my own opportunity as a school resource officer, whether it was the officer that rode around on the motorcycle, or whether it was an officer that was in accreditation. Millsboro has kept me engaged and really allowed me to grow as a person and also as a police chief.
And this chief wants to say a big thank you to the town.
I couldn't be more grateful. They have really been a great partner with us in the building of this building. I have a one-on-one working relationship with our project managers and project superintendent, and we find out ways to work through problems, create solutions. Their goals are the same as ours, and really couldn't be a better working relationship. This has been a long time coming, 2017, many designs. I think right now, I know our staff is getting excited to come in and be a part of this. So we're certainly hoping this will be a welcome Christmas gift this year.
Chief Calloway is especially excited for the community to see this space when it's completed, and so he's going to plan an open house in the spring of 2024.
And Chief Calloway is especially thankful to Delmarva Veteran Builders, who is responsible for constructing the beautiful new building.
And we talked to him just the other day.
Just the other day, yeah.
How about that? Up next, we're paying a visit to the Millsboro Fire Company.
Well, we've talked a lot up to this point about the special town Millsboro is and how folks are flocking there. Of course, when you choose to live in a town, you want to know you'll be taken care of in times of need.
Since 1926, volunteers have put their lives on the line to keep others out of harm's way. The Millsboro Volunteer Fire Company is almost 100 years old. And as we hear from Delmarva Life's Katie Zerilli, this organization is growing with this growing community.
Continue riding with us.
For Javon Harmon, firefighting is in the family.
Yeah, when I was younger, my uncle, he was a past chief down in Indian River Fire Company, one of our neighboring companies.
Seeing his uncle suit up and set out ignited a passion in younger him to follow in those footsteps. And so in 2016, he realized that dream with the Millsboro Fire Company.
I love this company. Great people here. It's been nothing but love since I've joined.
A sentiment that's shared by the company's expansive crew.
Between all of our members, probably got about 85 members right now. That includes firefighters, administrative people, ladies auxiliary. We have a very active auxiliary. We have an extremely active junior program.
Ron O'Neill is the company's president. He says they're the sole fire and EMS provider for the town of Millsboro and its surrounding district, which, as many know, is quickly expanding.
Last year we ran about 625 fire calls with about 4,800 ambulance calls. So the guys are busy, guys and gals are busy all the time.
As a matter of fact, about a year and a half ago, they opened this new substation on Route 24.
That has been a tremendous move out there because we have a lot of folks that live out on the west side who are able to respond there, so that's really cut down our response time to have that station operating.
And that response time is crucial. For members like Javon, helping people in their time of need is why they do it.
You know, seeing that joy on somebody's face is definitely, it's a great feeling inside.
For Ron, another great feeling is when they're engaging with folks in town.
If you go to a community event and you have some young kids that come up and they're, you know, all the kids, they want to see a fire truck. And I think that's the exciting part, and that's the part that kind of sticks out.
And if those kids are serious about this stuff, Millsboro Fire Company's junior program starts at age 14.
We allow them to train with us, we allow them to do some work around the firehouse, and it just promotes that volunteerism aspect. As the older generation moves on, you have to have that younger generation come in.
Talk about having the heart. Ron says some of the members here have been involved for 50+ years. All right, here I am in the driver's seat of engine 83-1, right, Ron?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Ron, I've got my coat on, which is heavy and nice and warm for me.
Absolutely.
So I got that going on. So take me through kind of what would happen if we were heading out right now.
All right, EOC is going to dispatch us to an accident out on 113. So you're going to hop in here. Our volunteers are going to hop in the back. You're going to fire the truck up, make sure all the emergency lights are on. This is your display center that gives you information about the truck.
Okay.
How many people are on here and whether everybody's got their seatbelt on, make sure we're all belted up.
Gotcha.
Dispatch is going to dispatch us. I'm going to call dispatch and say 83-1 responding with a crew of 5. And then you're going to take us out there. First of all, you're going to have to work your way out into traffic here using the siren and the federal queue.
Yeah.
And that's how we work out into traffic and then get to the scene.
All right, here we are now at the pump panel. A lot going on here, obviously. So, Javon, can you kind of explain how this all works?
Yeah, so basically, once you get on scene to a fire, you're gonna determine what size fire you got or what kind of fire you got. You're then gonna come out here. Once your firefighters jump off the truck, whatever lines they pull off, you got several lines. You got a front bumper line, we got booster line on here, we got some lines coming off the back. So first you wanna determine which line they have off. You don't want to pull a line that they don't have off.
Right.
You run into a lot of problems that way. So say if they pull the front bumper line, you'll find out which one they have. We got 2 up front on this engine here. You'll find out which one they have. Once you find out, you want to pull the lever here, and they're all labeled, so pretty simple. You'll pull it, and you'll end up getting water going to that line.
By its nature, this district presents a few unique challenges.
So we have a lot of farming community in our district, so that brings the farmer apparatus into the picture. We're also at the head of the Indian River down here too, so we have tidal waters. So we do have rescue boats where we are involved with water rescues as well. So that kind of expands our horizons a little bit, I guess you could say.
No matter what they're faced with, these guys and gals are willing to take on any challenge for the sake of this town.
I like it here. It still is a small town. Even though it's consistently growing, it still has that small town feel, and the people are just, it's the people, it's the town itself.
So when they hear that call, they'll sacrificially step up and do whatever it takes to help.
Ron says that every 5 years they upgrade a piece of apparatus. Their newest piece came in 2021, and they take good care of them because it's got to work right when they get there.
Absolutely. Stick around. Delmarva Life Small Town Series, Millsboro. We'll be right back. I think a lot of people who haven't actually gotten around Millsboro to see what is there really only know that stretch of 24 that goes through the downtown.
Yes.
You just need to take a day and take a little side street.
Set aside some time, look, enjoy, ask questions, meet people, and talk.
Absolutely.
Very cool thing.
Very friendly there.
Okay, so tomorrow we're going to tackle children. No, really. Tomorrow we're going to tackle child safety in the car. This is really, really important. Delaware has new car seat laws, and we're going to learn about what has changed.
And we're in the Delmarva Life kitchen with Bill's Prime Seafood and Steaks and Chincotig.
Right now, the team of the Newsplex putting the finishing touches on the stories impacting you and your family. WBOC News at 6 is next. We'll see you back here tomorrow. Tackling children, that'd be fun.